Today's story was written by Much Blackberry 2420. We have watched the stars for many years. In all this time, of the many civilizations we have seen, there has only been two approaches, two conclusions they have come to. At first, they all behave more or less the same way. Our telescopes pick up hints of light from narrow bands of thermal lines and clear streaks of propellant, even from galaxies far away. They spread out to explore the local stars, to determine if they are alone in the universe. Soon, they find that even for the most advanced, communication speeds are limited by distance. The more they spread, the less they can talk among themselves, the lonelier they get. Then, slowly the great consolidation begins, as they coalesce around a single star. Some do this soon, others take a few millennia, but all get to this point. The star slowly fades from the outside universe as the light is taken up by what they build. It is from here that the choice is made. Most stay like this. We see them only rarely as a star thought to be dim begins to die. Then, a nearby star dims as the hardware supporting a civilization moves to cover it. Billions of years of labour and life shifted to a younger foundation to continue on. Others, the rare few, spread out again, pushing outward like a plague to consume all in their paths. This is harder to spot. Although the evidence is more common, static civilizations can spend billions of years without giving clear proof of their presence. These swarms give consistent evidence, but the effect they have is so much smaller. The propellant trails are easy to mistake for a new explorer in the early expansion phase. At first, the effect is more obvious, as they spread from point to point quickly, and from a central hub, but within a few thousand millennia, it spreads over space and time. They take very little from each star. Average change in brightness between arrival and departure is only the parts per trillion range, or at least that's the estimate. It is exceedingly rare that the amount is so great as to be measurable. Occasionally, one of the truly powerful ones will take enough of one element to cause a noticeable shift in the spectral lines. We have seen one spread over 3 galaxies. It tended to reduce local carbon content by just under 3 parts per billion, well within our detection threshold. This is exceedingly rare. The far more common thing is that they spread until they hit one of the more stable civilizations, or they hit the limit of the galaxy and bounce back on themselves. A few billion years apart divides them such that they don't seem to recognize each other as part of the same whole anymore. That is the theory anyway. In either case, the galaxy will flare up for a while with bright concentrations of heavy energy particles, then go quiet. Eventually, we'll see a dim star brighten as the bright star dims, in a way we can only explain as an old race moving. We know that others are out there, but all are so far away, and communication over such a range is slow, energy intensive, and complicated. None ever make more than the odd token attempt. In a way, it is enough to know that they are there. We aren't alone. We have each other. If all that is known is location and rough estimate of age, sometimes a little about the spectral lines of drives, most of these are so similar as to be more about basic physics than personality or culture. At least something is known and thought of. In our own galaxy, at the outer rim, a dim old star began to brighten. We had thought little of it. It was one of the old red dwarfs that would live a near uncountable length of time. An early candidate for life long dismissed as unlikely. It was thought to be a place swamped by random little rocks. Even now it was confusing. The star itself was not aging so much as to be a danger. It would be early for anyone to leave. Whoever it was, the civilization was old, older than any we had estimated before. They must have left their first star before the collision shaped our galaxy into what it is today, an old theory for the strange twisted shape we currently occupy. Whoever it was began to approach us. not in the widespread or unfocused fury of a swarm. This was a slow, deliberate thing. They came at an average rate of 1 light year per century. The approach path was clear, not direct. They seemed to wander about ever so slightly, as though certain stars along the way were regarded as more interesting and worthy of a visit. Sometimes they would stop in one place for centuries. Sometimes they would skip by 100 stars in a single bound. A journey of 100,000 light years taken as a 10 million year endeavour. Eventually, a stellar telescope could pick out the individual objects of this strange fleet. Much like our own people, they lived in multi-million kilometre artificial worlds. Of course we prepared for the worst, although we couldn't imagine why someone would put this much effort into risking harm. Not when we had nothing that wasn't present around every star they had passed by. It pays to be cautious. Then the message came. "Hello neighbours, we thought you looked lonely."